The main takeaway in this module is that DDMS is an essential debugging tool. After your editor and your source code level debugger, DDMS is the next most important thing you can know how to use when doing Android development. For DDMS to be able to access a process, debugging must be enabled. So if you're talking about most devices, since most devices ship with a production build of Android, only those applications that are specifically set to be debuggable can be accessed from DDMS. Now, on an emulator, which normally has a debug build of the whole operating system, in that case, all processes are accessible from DDMS. But the key thing to remember here is that it's not about it being a device or an emulator that makes it accessible. It's the build of Android, right? Just most devices have a production build. Most emulators have a debug build. DDMS provides a really rich set of process monitoring tools. As we saw, we could see the memory. We could see threads, and we could see the networking information. When it came down to memory, we've got a heap viewer to see kind of really high-level information about what's going on with our memory access. But I find the allocation tracker being that really kind of core tool for seeing what's going on, because we can see the individual types in terms of how our application uses them and the exact place in our application to where that memory is allocated. But in addition to interacting with the processes, DDMS also interacts very deeply with our devices and our emulators. We saw that we've got access to the file system. We can send and receive files from the file system. We can do screen captures, and we can closely control the emulator, allowing us to test some really kind of rich scenarios in terms of how our app behaves when the phone suddenly takes over right in the middle while the user is using our app, or when the network kind of behaves funny or goes really slow. So bring it all back around. DDMS just gives us that kind of complete debugging facilities we need to really develop effective applications.